It's almost Christmas, yay! Now I know some people aren't excited about that idea, but I am. And I'm also excited about this project. I found this sleigh in the dumpster, the same dumpster I found a few other wonderful items in. So today we are going to get it all ready for Christmas. So the first thing I did was wash it because ew, gross, nasty. So we cleaned that up, and when I was cleaning it, I found this stamp, and maybe it's whoever made it, maybe it was the initials of who actually used to sled with it. I'm not sure, but thought it was a neat little find. Our supplies for this first part are an old sign and some DIY paint and chalk couture transfer. Alrighty, so we're going to take this old sign. It had originally had some paper backing on it that came off, so I saved it because I knew I'd find something else to use it for, and here it is. So I'm just putting on a coat of DIY paint, and I'm only going to use one coat because I want this to look kind of aged and worn and weathered, because you know I like that kind of look. So we'll just do one coat and let it dry. While that dries, we are going to move on to making an arrangement for the top of the sleigh. So I have some Dollar Tree ribbon, some picks from AC Moore that were 49 cents, and these are from the Target dollar spot this year. Just want to be totally honest here, I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to arrange all of these things and make them stay together because it ends up being pretty bulky, and maybe I could have done it better, but this worked. So the first thing I did was take the picks and put two on each side and take a twisty tie and put those together. I also added some hot glue for good measure, and then I'll move on to those pine cones that I got from the Target dollar spot. So it came with a pack of 3 and they were all separate, and I just grouped them together, smushed them, and then I just tried to put some hot glue where the pine cones touched each other, and then I will glue that whole thing to the center like so. Once I had those glued together, I also added another twist tie. I just weaved it through there and then used that to attach it to the picks. Once those were put together, I just let them sit, and then I am going to use that Dollar Tree ribbon and make a bow to place behind it for a little more depth and just a little more Christmas cheer, because when it's Christmas, you can just never add enough. So you can see I just did a nice simple loopy bow, and then I will take a pipe cleaner and use it to attach the arrangement to the front of the bow. And it works really well. If you're ever making bows, grab some pipe cleaners because they will make your life easier. decided to add just a little bit more. So I had a jingle bell, so I'm going to attach that, and in a minute you'll see that I add some dark green ribbon behind the bow because I thought it needed something else to make it pop. Now moving back to our sign, it is all dry, and now I'm going to take some sandpaper and just rough up the edges a little bit to give it some dimension. Now that the sanding is done, I'm going to add a layer of clear wax, just a light coat to seal the paint a little bit, and it's also going to help me apply the transfer so that the transfer doesn't stick to the metal board. While the wax sets up a little bit on our sign, I'm just going to attach our bow to the top of the sled, and I'm using that same pipe cleaner that we talked about earlier and a little hot glue just to secure it a tad bit more. Now I do go in after I set the sled upright and add some floral wire because the bow drooped a little bit, so I just put some of that wire in and it fixed it right up. Alright, let's get this sign finished up. I am using Chalk Couture products. I happen to love them. I will leave a link for you if you are interested in purchasing some. These are These are reusable transfers, so you do want to take care of them. I'm just marking the back, and then I will cut the transfer and we'll get started. Cut all the pieces apart, and now I will remove the backer, and you'll see me place the transfer onto a towel in the background. That just takes off some of the extra stickiness in the transfer so that it's easier to remove once you place it down on your surface and apply the chalk. Now that the transfer is fuzzed, I am going to position it on my board, and it's very forgiving. If you don't like your first placement, you can lift it gently and put it back down. Very simple. And just take your hand once you like where it is and smooth it out. And you'll see I have some white chalk in the background. That's what I'll be using to apply this part of the transfer. Just take a squeegee, a small amount of the chalk, and smooth it over. our sign is all done and I really love how it turned out. So now I'm just taking some jute and attaching it to the sled. There were already some holes in that metal board, so that made it a whole lot easier. Now I know you can't see this part very well because that big old bow is covering it up, but all I'm doing is just figuring out what to do with this little scrap of ribbon because I didn't want it to go to waste. So I just made another bow and glued it to a section of the sled between the sign and the bow. And here is our dumpster find sled all gussied up for Christmas. Now I haven't yet decorated my home for Christmas, but when I do, I will take some more photos of this with my other Christmas decorations.